So let's talk about burnout. It happens to the best of us. Everybody encounters it, me included. And, it's really hard to decipher what are the solutions to overcome something like burnout. Because, on one hand, you know, you really love your craft and you want to do it a lot. I know I do. Like, I love to make art, I like to create things, I like to do stuff, I like to tinker, you know? And when I then pick a career in which my job is to tinker, and make stuff and help other people find types of things that they are also tinkering with, you know, um, it becomes overwhelming. You start to draw all the time. And then when you want to draw for yourself, you start to realize you'll kind of creatively drain. But then you're like, I still should do it because it's good for me. And then you go and do it. Then you go to work and then you have to draw some more. And then it's just all of a sudden you're doing too much. And I think this is a reasonable challenge for lots of folks. And I think it's reasonable to feel guilty, to feel like you can't really complain about it, right? Like to feel like, oh, I shouldn't complain because people would kill to have this job, would be so happy to have this opportunity. And I think that's fair to feel this way. But it's still bad for you to burn out often, especially. I think for me, whenever I burn out, for instance, whenever I like have like multiple gigs, I do like a lot of contract work and then I do like personal stuff. I just crash hard and just like watch movies, TV shows, and just kind of draw what I want to draw for like a day or two, you know? And just kind of take a bit of a break on whatever else got going on in my life. Obviously, doing things outside of drawing, just like being around family, friends, colleagues, these all are incredible tools to help me overcome whatever feelings I might have as well. But yeah, you just got to take those breaks. And I think a lot of times when you're a student, you're starting out, burnout can happen because of the overwhelming pressure to succeed. You're about to finish your university or your school or whatever like set of rules and standards you've given yourself to accomplish. And then time is running out. You're getting closer to the time where you have to prove that there is value in all this effort. So you just start to grind and grind, and you start to freaking work a little too much, and then you burn out. Yeah, you just start to feel overwhelmed. And then once you've completed this project, once you've completed school, once you've kind of moved on to the next thing, and nothing comes of it, the rebound of this is really strong because of how much you've burned out. You now stop drawing, or you stop working, or you start crafting. And that's the part that I kind of want to comment on. I want to try to help people get past this feelings of like not drawing again. So for instance, me, if I feel like I still draw. I still end up drawing. I still end up doing something. I still do something relatively useful, for lack of a better description, you know? And that's just because it's in my bones. I just feel like I got to do it. And so I just go ahead and do it. Uh, so whenever I quote unquote burn out, it's short lived. Like maybe like a day or two, I might not do anything. There's sometimes when I would take like a vacation, a well needed vacation for like a week or two, and I feel great. I go do stuff with the family. We go to like theme parks or something, and just like it feels wonderful. And I feel like I wish I could do that all the time. But then the art calls me. Something calls me. I still come back to making some type of content of some sort, you know? And that's great because it works for me to have this type of personality type. But what I realized over the many years of teaching is this is just not the case for everybody. And so if you're in one of those situations where you feel like you're burning out, you've drawn so much and you just don't want to do it anymore because of just how much you're doing, then that's just a good sign that you just need to take more breaks when you are working so hard. get more rest, creative rest, right? Just like if you were working out, like you would take breaks in between sets, right? Let alone in between like the workouts. Meaning, like if you went to the gym and you deadlifted really heavy and you took 3 to 4 minute breaks in between each set, that's great. But then you take a week off of doing deadlifts. That's awesome because it'll give your body opportunity to heal. Especially deadlifts like such a incredibly challenging lift. So taking longer breaks makes perfect sense. And I think with art, creatively, like if you're doing something really challenging, like trying to learn design and studying quite a lot from that, um, and then just try to draw for yourself, you just might feel really overwhelmed if you keep doing like heavy design exercises every single day versus like let's say you know you need to work on your design and so you kind of do it for like a few days. You practice design, you study design from looking at other artists, you read books, you do it for like a day or two, but then you're starting to feel that feeling of overwhelmingness, like there's so much to learn, and you start to feel burned out because you're staying up super late to try to understand these things and try to make your work for you, and it's just not happening. But you respect that it takes time and effort, so you're putting that time and effort, but then again, you're just getting overwhelmed. Yeah, just then stop doing that for a second and do something else. Maybe like spend the next day doing some anatomy studies. You know you got to do them anyway, right? And you know you got to like do some practice in some draftsmanship stuff. So maybe draw some cubes or something. Do something else for a bit. You know, it is totally healthy to break away from kind of your main objective every so often. You know, and again, this is me speaking to people who I know are really driven already. They're like sitting still and able to just draw for long periods of time, but then they do it for too long, too often, and then yeah, that's where burnout comes from. If you're one of those people that you do it for like a day or like a few hours and you're feeling overwhelmed, I think this is a different problem that you have, right? This I don't know if categorizing this as burnout um, would be appropriate, you know, because you don't have enough time spent to really justify what I would call a burnout. 'Cause burnout to me means like the flame is burning hot and molten, you know? And so if you're not at that stage, then you might have more of like a disciplinary or more focused challenge, which I'll talk more about in a different video. But for those of you who like do something for years consistently and you're starting to feel really overwhelmed, or like I said in those examples of like you're coming closer to the end of a project for a company, for a school, whatever it might be, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, you might feel a little burnt out. So yeah, I'll usually recommend just doing something else. For me, like you'll notice this, you'll see this, and even in my own work. So, for instance, on recording of this video, I'm not sure when you're watching this, you might notice a lot of just really rough sketches, and you might ask yourself, "What?" Well, it's because I've been painting quite a lot of stuff recently, and doing a lot of like high level art that I just wanted to just sketch. I was doing a lot of production level stuff for this last several months, and now I'm just kind of like, I just want to draw stuff that doesn't require me to make it good. You know, like it's just rough and tough, and it's just freedom of expression of my little fingies and how they're moving on the paper. You know, that's why I started doing more like little traditional drawings. That's why I started doing kind of this like fun little videos that I put out. This is why I've started even doing the YouTube videos recently, because it's a good change of pace of like kind of my day to day my gigs. Like even after this, I'm like, okay, once I get this done, because I need to get my quota done of the day, and I'm doing great. I feel really good, and I realize if I wait till the end of the day, I feel so tired because of work, and so like that's me feeling like I don't get my reps in by the time the day is over. You feel me? And so it is very obvious to me. I was like, okay, I'm gonna I was already doing some work right before this, and I was about to jump into some others, but I was like, "Ah, dude, I should actually get this video out first because I have a bit more stuff to do. I want to go hit the gym too, and then that's going to make me more tired. So yeah, let's just go. Let's do it right now. And so, um, doing this, I already feel relieved. I feel like, whew, creatively taking a break. I'm not trying to make this amazing. I'm not trying to necessarily impress the art world with my latest sketches. I'm just drawing because I like to. And it's cool to see what people like from my rough sketches and what they don't like. That's also really helpful because, well, okay, I didn't expect people to enjoy that drawing. Interesting. Because I probably wouldn't have done it. I probably would have stuck to some of the stuff I've been doing a lot of, which is totally fair because I like doing it too. But it's nice to break free from the mold, so I don't feel burnt out, so I can stay ablaze consistently. I do this even in working out. Like I brought up the deadlift example. So one of the things I do is I don't actually do my deadlifts a lot. I love to deadlift, and deadlift is actually my main strength goal. I have a goal with my deadlift currently. I want to get really high numbers with it, and I'll at a later time I'll explain why. But for now, it's just keep it under wraps. But know that that's kind of one of my goals. So I can do the deadlift every single day, but I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna do the deadlift every month. Like once a month, I'm gonna do a really heavy deadlift day. I'm gonna do a lot of reps and heavy sets, both. And I've been getting stronger every time I do it. Every month, I get about 10 to 15 pounds stronger, which is great. It's fantastic. So what do I do during the rest of the month? Well, I just think about all the exercises that are good for the deadlift, like good mornings, bent over rows, strengthening my grip, all of these types of things. Working on my leg strength, you name it. And what's cool is that all these workouts then end up being spread out. Like I'll hit one of these workouts like once or twice a month. So then every workout seems to be just a little bit different, pretty effectively every time I go to the gym. But my main focus is still like heavy deadlifts. But I'm not like doing just deadlifts. Sometimes I do deficit deadlifts as well. Sometimes I do like leg pressing as my main strength goal for this week. So that will make my leg drive a lot stronger. It's an interesting approach. I'm sure there's a physical trainer or physical therapist that'll be like, yeah, that's called the so and so. I don't know what I've never heard people talk about this. It's like usually one or the other. It's usually you either go high volume or high volume like lower weights or lower weight, less reps, less volume. And I'm going for strength, and I realize you need to kind of have a little bit of both from what I was reading and what I was hearing from people online, just generally speaking, the knowledge I was seeing, because you need your tendon strength to be just as strong, you know? And so having these long periods of basically breaks and focusing on high reps and strength reps, like intermingled, allows me to have proper rest overall on all of my muscles, because I'm not like doing quote unquote like the deadlift, which will hit those whatever muscles I'm using consistently, whether it's my lats, my legs, my hams, my glutes, like if I'm doing that every day, then I'm hitting them too often, too frequently in that movement, and it won't allow my joints to heal and my tendons to heal appropriately, where my muscles will heal much faster, you know? And so going back to this idea is like, if you were to just do nothing but design all day, every day, it also can create this kind of blind spot effect when you burn out, because you're just so in it for so long that you just can't see your blind spots anymore. And so it reacts or makes you react in a way where you feel like you have to draw a shit ton. You just draw all the time, drawing every fucking second, you know? But you're not allowing yourself some time to breathe, to kind of step back and reflect on what you've learned thus far, what you still need to learn. And then also try within the genre of work that you want to get good at, other stuff. So for instance, I love creature designs and macabre-ish designs. Um, but now I'm like, normally I would paint it, but I'm like sketching it out now. Because I don't normally sketch, right? And this is allowing me to see this differently. In fact, I'm like, okay, let me try to have some fun here. Let me make a layer underneath. And what I'll do is I'll start to see if I can add some fun here. Oh yeah, this is be really cool. And I've done this probably here and there, but not like a lot. And normally if I'm doing production type work, I will almost rely on a much more, you know, much more consistent approach so I can keep getting consistent results. This is me just experimenting. But again, that's because I have low stakes on what I'm trying to get accomplished here. I don't really care. I'm just like, yeah, let's try some stuff. Let's throw some, oh, you know what would be fun? Maybe let's get some high amounts of softness too. This could be really nice. And what this does is just allows me to try something a little bit different. Because again, if I'm like on that hyper, like gotta go all realistic, gotta make sure my approach is super predictable every second I show up, then it doesn't give me an opportunity to try anything new with my process either. Which then can open my eyes to something that I realize, oh man, if I do this more often, I think I can get some really cool work. And then I will share it online. So I'll share this image later on my Instagram. And then depending on how it goes, will allow me to get some insight on what people think about it as well, which is great because I don't know whether it will do well or not until I share it, right? I have some suspicions some images will do well. I have a good understanding of the kinds of stuff that I've done because I have enough data to kind of back it up. But whenever I do these more exploratory stuff, like I won't find out unless I put it out there. And again, if I am just constantly in this state of like everything has to be awesome, everything has to be perfect, that just is overwhelming and will lead again ultimately to burning out. Where this is like a lot more freeing, and then I reveal it, and then it might show me, you know, I might not need to go so hardcore parkour on some things that I thought I did before, you know, because people are revealing to me that's something that I already like doing, but in this way has a lot of appeal to them. People like it for whatever reason. And then I can start to dissect it from there. I'll start to ask more questions about myself. I'll ask kind of like questions indirectly through posting more artwork, you know, and then see what happens. Because for me, like I said, I don't normally feel like I burn out often and then just stay off the grid. Because that's the thing that I see a lot, and I try to help a lot of students with. Like I see people will go too hard and then they just literally stop painting for months, sometimes years. And I'm like, whoa, like that really fucked you up, you know? And for me, that's like almost never happened. In fact, the fact that I don't post often has less to do with me being burned out. It's that I'm just working even more than I was. Like if you don't see me posting at all, that means I'm working way too much. Because even if I'm working at a pretty good gig and I do a really good job, I usually can still find time. Like even right now, like for instance, I have a gig that I need to get done by the end of the day. And so, but I'm like, I could do it. It's not a big deal, you know? And so to me, like 30-minute sketch, it's not a problem. I can get this done and then just move on, you know? Um, But there, yeah, there'd be some days where I'm just like, okay, I'm teaching, and I got this full time gig, and I got freelance gig. That's when I start to feel overwhelmed, and I feel like I'm gonna burn out. But it's a product of working too much. And so to me, once I find time, like I said, the opposite effect happens where I don't run from my art. I double down on like, I want to, I've always wanted to try this. I have these ideas for brushes that I wish I could have done, but I just didn't have time with this project. Or, you know, I had this like idea for making art, or I had like this cool projects in my mind that I would love to explore. Like I did this like kind of horror tutorial, um, and that did well. People liked it, and I was like, okay, cool, cool, cool. Like, maybe I can up the ante here, you know. But I wouldn't have done that if I was terrified of doing it in the first place. And so for me, like burning out just tells me that you ought to try to just do something else for a little bit. You know, explore the ideas that you thought were crazy, and that you expect people to feel weird about because it's not like that high quality stuff you're putting out there. But just like work on your own stuff for a bit. You don't have to show nobody. And if for whatever reason you feel brave, share it. See what people say. You might be shocked, you know, that your experiments bring you great value. And because you took a fucking break and you gave yourself a breather, you were able to try something fresh, you know? And then get back to the grind, you know, especially if that's like your main goal. For me, at the end of the day, I love to just teach and make awesome artwork, regardless of the genre. It is very obvious to me, though, that my favorite type of thing to draw, no matter what, seems to be more dark fantasy, sci-fi, and creature stuff, like I'm just doing right now. This is a lot of fun to me. Okay, let me see if I can kind of bring this together with some fun. I think I'm gonna do this. Let's get on the top of the layer now. Let's start fucking with the original line art and see what happens. There's this new aesthetic that I really like that I've been following a lot of on Instagram, and I saw a video commenting on this as well as a kind of reactionary agenda against stuff like AI, which is like more mixed media and true like mixed media, like actually grabbing like magazine covers and shit like that, and then painting on top of them. I saw like this badass like graffiti mixed with like traditional painting, done by two different artists. That shit was dope. And I think like, you know, whenever people talk about how something like AI will make people more creative, right? Like, and it was under the premise of like, it'll take someone like me as an artist, and with AI, I will become more creative using it, right? I'll think of like some fascinating tool or some fascinating uh, mix of the two, of me painting and this AI. Um, but I think it's ironically the opposite's happening, where people absolutely are becoming more creative, but more back to reality, because that is the thing that's really hard to replicate. And that is, again, my prediction of the near future of like art commerce is more tangible shit, more things that bring people together, not push them apart, you know? And I think that when you start to see more and more of this type of content, and people are going to go out more, like I was out and about with the family and just thinking, this is still ideal. You know, I'm like sitting there, we're eating dinner, we're watching movies. Like, it's just like, I don't think this techno future is what people actually care to see, you know? And it's really fascinating to me to see a lot of like these people I've been following. Like I've been following a lot on Instagram, just doing just straight traditional drawings, like in sketchbooks and shit, and they're just so fucking good. And they're getting countless amounts of views. And I'm like, dude, what? This is tight. So it only made me more ecstatic to try to find ways to make that true for myself. So I spent a lot of time yesterday actually making more interesting brushes for me to work with. But yeah, yeah, I'm very much into this mixed media stuff, and so I might play with that. It's like photo bashing, right? Obviously, like you take photos and then or you take like clippings of magazines and you kind of make something out of it. But instead of trying to blend the quote unquote photo with the imagery, what I'm going to try to do is make whatever image, like photo, part of the image. Like it's like that's what makes it look the way that it does. Like imagine if I cut out eyeballs. You know what? Let me just do that now. The problem is I don't have any like immediate eyeball imagery. Let me see if I can just grab eyes. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Let's experiment, friends. Oh, man. Hold on. This eyeball is intense. Okay, I think this is good for now. What the heck? Why does it delay? Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and erase parts I don't need here. And again, I'm gonna try to keep it as is. Oh my gosh, it already bothers me. And then we'll just kind of desaturate it. Yeah, okay. And let's do this. Yeah, see, part of me already likes this, but I'm not committed to follow through just yet because that would require probably another 30 to 40 minutes. But I do like it. I do like what this is trying to do already. Oh yeah, this is so fucking gnarly, dude. And again, I'm trying not to photo bash. That's the gimmick. I am going to try not to make it blend perfectly. I want it to feel like it's stitched in, you know? So I have a couple ideas of how to make that work. Oh, that one looks derpy. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This might take me a lot longer, but I figured as much. I figured that it wouldn't be as simple as just plopping them in and they would just work. Like that's kind of the artistry of it all. Yeah, there's something nice about this one in here though. But it's like too bright. Okay, I'm gonna try something real quick before we call this quits. Like I said, I'm not committed, but I just wanted to show you kind of what I meant. But this is awesome because what this I'm already seeing that oh, this is worth exploring because it's not as simple as plug and go. Is to kind of like sketch them out like so that I'm making a very clear statement that I want them to be here, you know? And that there's some kind of like intention some intentionality here. So it's not just haphazardly put on. See, that already feels awesome. I'm already into this. Here, let's shrink this one. This might be too big. Yeah, I'm actually curious how people will feel about that addition. I wonder if this eyeball could go somewhere else, actually. Or maybe I just need to keep painting. Yeah, and like putting like teeth here. Yeah, this won't be so simple. But I'm gonna. Oh man, I kind of do want to sit still now with this because it's like, oh, what will happen if I put like an actual hand here and there? Oh, dude. Let's do this. Let's just give it a little bit of opacity so it kind of blends a little bit more. And let's just see how that feels. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to keep it for now. Let's just make a new layer on top. But this is what I'm saying. Like, that excites me. And as you can see, like, I was already like, fuck, this is not going to be, like, immediately obvious to me how to solve these problems. Because like, this is like the first time I've ever really tried to do it this way. Again, if I was trying to blend them in, then GG, it would have just been blended in. I would have just done it. But I'm not trying to. I'm trying to make them feel fucking sketched on. Or stitched on, even. Probably a better way to describe this. Like, fucking magazine eyeballs just glued onto this really weird looking creature. You know? And to me, that's like really exciting. I like this scribbling approach for textures too. Let's bring back some of that like hard brush to kind of blend this in a little bit better. Create these cool facets using this more brick-like brush. So it's always fun. And then I want to get a lot more. I want to get a lot more texture in these ribs. Oh, my back is so itchy. I think this thing is creeping me out. Making me allergic to it. Yeah, let's do something like this. So the ribs feel tooth-like. That's always nice and gross. Some back hair. Scribble here, scribble there. Again, to create some sense of intentionality that this isn't just completely off the rails. There's something that the artist behind it is trying to say with their work, you know? And this is always very fun for me. Oh yeah, this is looking cool. I'm already into it quite a bit. Okay. All right, this video is already getting past its quota. I need to get back to my gerbs. But there's some lines here that I want to clarify silhouette of. But yeah, don't burn out, y'all. Yeah, the subject matter changed halfway through the video. Yeah, you guys are gonna have to get used to that. Whenever I stumble upon it, something that I really like. If I'm doing an exploratory type of image while I'm doing these kind of art talks, you're gonna see me wander, which is cool because it's like also it's raw. It's like how I actually operate. If I see something, I'm like, ooh, what? Tight, and I start just going for it. And that's literally how I feel right now. I feel like this is super cool. But I'm curious how people will react. Because again, I might feel that this is incredible. But then once I put it out there, people are like, yeah, it's all right. You know? And I'm like, okay. And I have a couple options when that presents itself. One, do I then double down and try to find a solution to make this pop out and become more and more appealing to more and more people? Right? Because I do like it a lot, right? So let me try some other stuff. Let me actually go like really dig into the paint here of like this kind of collage approach. Maybe it's the subject matter. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. You know, there's a lot of good things that could be the reason why this didn't do as well as I was expecting. Or just know that it was a sketch, it was an exploration, and then maybe with some other image that I will do in the future, this image will remind me that there is an approach that can work for this new project that I'm doing. It will like works perfectly for what I'm being assigned or what I think I want to do, and then realize, okay, I can't go all in on this approach, but it's maybe a good thumbnail. Maybe it's a good sketch because it kind of roughly gives the idea and it gives a lot of good impression. But then once it's approved, then I will go and paint what needs to be painted. Then I must do what must be done. I now must draw this the way that I normally would draw and paint this. Feel? But I'm always excited to see how people feel about an image. And sometimes, yeah, it's just like, wah, 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 and I'm like, okay, well, it is what it is. I tried it out. But other times I'll do, like, there's this one image of like this demon knight warrior looking dude that fucking blew up. And to me, I didn't have any impression of that. I was just like, oh, this is whatever. It's like a cool color study. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I was just like, okay, cool. I just like made a cool image. I didn't have this like attachment to it. I didn't have this artistic bias. I was just like, yeah, it's just an image I made. And then everyone and their moms was like, this is the coolest thing you've ever drawn in your life, And I'm like, whoa, what? And so that also can happen, like the opposite, where I am not expecting anything, and then all of a sudden, everyone thinks it's the greatest thing that I've ever created. So that's why I just don't. I just let the art gods be the art gods. I make content that I like. I like almost everything that I draw. Anything that I post, I like it. Whether you like it or not, that's for me to kind of decipher. But I like everything that I post on. Anything that you see me post, I liked it for some reason. Maybe I learned something about myself as an artist. Maybe that image just was like the day that I felt sad and it made me feel happy. Maybe I was feeling happy and it made me feel happier. Maybe I was feeling happy and the image made me feel sad. I don't know. But it did something to me. And I wanted to share with others, see how they feel when they see it. Because that's kind of the part of art that makes it awesome, right? It's a bit of an expression. So that's it. That's the only reason I will post these types of things, because I feel something about them, And yeah, and sometimes I don't necessarily share that. Like, I don't express it with words, but you guys are hearing me saying it now. So now you know. So you're, oh, okay, AJ has some feelings about this image you just posted. Nice. But I don't like it. I'm going to move on. I'm going to keep on scrolling. And you're allowed to. As far as we're concerned, it's still a free country of recording of this video. Anyway, all right, I'm going to get out of here, though. But yeah, last remarks about burning out. Do something that you just normally wouldn't do. If you still want to stay productive, then do something within the genre of whatever you want to do that will keep you productive. Take breaks often, friends, even during your work. Like I'm right now, it's a working day for me. I stepped away to do this video and this sketch. Gonna upload it, all this within an hour's time. It's no big deal. Then get back to work. And mix up kind of the ways that you approach stuff. Try 3D some days, try mixed media, try like painting in real life, mix it up, y'all. Get some pencils and draw there, like fall in love with the craft all over again. And you will find, kind of like I was using the deadlift example of me working out, you will find multiple ways to train the main lift, right? So you're always getting that main lift strengthened. Like for me, I do bend over rows, good mornings. What else do I do? Like hip thrusters, these types of things. All these things help my deadlift at the end of the day. My grip strength, oh, that one's a big one. I love training my grip strength. These all help the deadlift, and there's no reason you can't do that as well for training how to get good at whatever that you want to get good at. Hey, I'm gonna do 3D, but I'm an environment artist, so I'm gonna do a block out in 3D. I've never done it before. Let me try it out and then paint over it and see what that does. That's how a lot of these artists that you admire come up with these wacky ass ideas. They experiment quite a lot. So when you're feeling burnt out, experiment, try it out. But at the very least, fucking take a break. Take a Sunday, man. Just go to the beach, get some sun. Actually rest. Don't draw anything even for like an entire day. It's totally fine. And then come back to it rested and slept and well fed, socialize, get that out of your system as well, do all that stuff. It's good for you. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks again for all the support. I can't stress enough how awesome it is. I literally every day am getting incredibly awesome DMs from people. Keep it coming. And yeah, I love it. Appreciate y'all. You guys are just as valuable to me as I hope I'm valuable to you. Thank you all.